going on all around. Some say we should stop singing this sad song and forget our call for reparation. But we just cast it down, forget and ignore the pain and sorrows our ancestors had to endure. The horror of slavery still haunts this generation because they never asked to be stolen and forced into servitude, chained up, shackled, bruised and battered and treated oh so crude. Millions of white oppressors benefited by enslaving Africans, so the descendants of slaves have a right to call for reparations. For all the slaves that they stole away, tell them that they have to pay. We want reparation for slavery. For all the violence and all the hurt for making Africans believe that they had no way. We want reparation for slavery. For all of the pain and all of the shame. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. African women were raped by white slave masters to satisfy their sex craved desires, while black men could only watch and do nothing. And the African slave tried to run away without a doubt it was hell to pay. If they got caught, they would be lynched or they'd lose a limb. They were denied education and all basic human rights. To live as a slave was to live a horrible life. In the service of the white slave master, from the cradle to the grave, no compensation, no hope for the African slave. For all of the work they did in the past, for giving them all love in human time. We want reparation for slavery. For the Jim Crow laws and segregation, for all those who got lynched by the Ku Klux Klan. We want reparation for slavery. For all those atrocities, reparation, painful memories. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. Listen, they broke up the African family, took away their rights and their dignity. Their religion and way of life was stolen. Subject them to a cultural genocide, took away the sense of African pride. Their defiant African spirit was broken. The transatlantic journey separated Africans from Africa. Many were scattered throughout the diaspora. Thousands died while making the journey to toil as a slave in the white man's land. So this is a call on behalf of those Africans. For every slave who died while making that trip, for every slave who was ever for every slave who was sold on the auction block, white men called them good African stock. For all of the Russian for the Holocaust, American Indians for their painful past, Aborigines in Australia got some as well. But not one thing for the African who they stole from their native land. It seems Africans were born to catch real hell. Great Britain and North America stole the wealth out of Africa. They built their empires on the back of slave labor. And when they said that slavery was over, the white slave masters got compensation. But yet today, Africans still fighting for reparation. Then I hear it from a British Prime Minister say, forget slavery happened yesterday. Who in the man has sincere apology? They destroy the true African legacy. Reparation of slavery. For all of the pain. Reparation. And all of the shame. Somewhere, somehow we want reparation. Whoa, 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 whoa. Somewhere, somehow we want reparation. Let's not even get it. Whoa,
Good evening. The creative voice, the creative energy, the creative imagination, singing for us, singing for the African, singing for reparations. Tiny, out of Trinidad and Tobago, and putting out the challenge to our Calypsonians, putting out the challenge to our singers. Stop only singing about jam and wine. That's all right too. We gotta nice it up for the party. But sing for your people. Reparations there. We want reparations. We want reparations. We want reparations. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101 on a Monday evening. On a Monday evening. Reparations. That's our watchword. That's our watchword. Wherever you're joining us from, if you're joining us from Guyana, all hail to you. It's a nice night on the east coast of Demerara here. Quiet as it can be. The killings on the road. I understand there was another accident today somewhere on the east coast up there by Larissa Veneer, and another life taken. But other than that, it's nice. It's nice to be in Guyana. And for those of you who are in Guyana, outside of Guyana, whether you're in the wider Caribbean or you're in North America, Europe, welcome to Politics 101, Reparations. I love that. I love that calypso. And I want us to start teaching our children, playing those things for our children. And I want to challenge the creative artists, whether you're singing reggae, you're singing calypso, whatever you're singing, begin to sing for your people and sing for your people's plight. Use your creative energies for your people. Good evening. Good evening. Yesterday we had another forum in Georgetown, Coffee 250 at the State of the African Guyanese Forum. And we've been getting a lot of calls today. One Indian Guyanese brother wants all the presentations he wants copy of them to circulate to Indian Guyanese. I got a call from Elder Malcolm Paris this morning, and several other people called, watched the program yesterday. The presenters, we had Brother Kimani Nehusi, Brother Nigel Hughes, Brother Vincent Alexander, Sister Dawn Cush, Dawn Holder Cush, Brother Aubrey Norton was there to give the opening remarks. Yours truly was there on stage. I did more moderating, but I did make my little presentation. And in my presentation, I made the argument that our reparations must not be just reparations from Europeans. Yes, they must pay us reparations because they became rich. European wealth, including American wealth, came as a result of unpaid labor for over 200 years, in some cases 300, 400 years. And so they have to pay us reparations. But the state that they created, the state that they used to rape the labor of Africans, to steal the labor of Africans, that state, the successor state to that state is the state of Guyana today. And I am making the argument, I made that argument yesterday, I made that argument in Buxton. The argument I'm making is that we must begin to demand reparations from the state of Guyana, because the state of Guyana is the successor state of the colonial state, the slave state, and the state of Guyana can today afford to pay some reparations to Africans. They can afford it. The state of Guyana must pay reparations to African Guyanese. Our Amerindian brothers and sisters are being paid reparations for maintaining the interior of our country, maintaining the interior of our country. And Africans must pay reparations for civilizing the coast of Guyana. Let's talk tonight. Let's talk. We're not playing now. We're not playing. We're not playing. Be upping our demands. That's where the equitable distribution of the resources come in. Because you have to put aside, first thing you have to do is to put aside what is owed to Africans. We're not asking for all. If it's 3 million barrels a day of oil, with proceeds that come from that, a percentage must be given to Africans. Our Amerindian brothers and sisters, they got land. God bless them. Now they're getting compensation for the environment that they've helped to keep pure in the hinterland. God bless them, they deserve it. The African was able to transform the coast of Guyana from swamp to plantation, and from plantation to civilization. No compensation. So we've got to broaden this demand for reparations. Reparations mean to repair damage. What is the damage that has been done to the African as a result of his and her experience of slavery? Economic disrepair. Economic disrepair. economic disrepair, while others were accumulating, Africans were deaccumulating. Europeans accumulated. And during the colonial period, the Europeans made sure that Portuguese and Chinese were given affirmative actions, reparations. Our Indian Guyanese brothers and sisters at the end of indentureship was given some reparations. Our Amerindian Guyanese brothers and sisters at the time of independence, they were given some reparations. African people are the ones who have never been given reparations in Guyana. The slave masters were given reparation. Between 1834 and 1838, the proceeds from the labor of the African, although Emancipation Proclamation was passed in 1834, the African worked from 1834 to 1838, and the proceeds from his labor went to give reparation to the slave masters. The slave masters got reparations. All ethnic groups in Guyana have been given reparations. The African is the only group that has not been given reparations. And we've been crying out for reparations. We have upped the ante for reparations from the Europeans. Now we must up the ante for reparations from our own state, because our own state can afford reparations now. The patrimony of Guyana must be equitably distributed. And equitably means that it must be distributed, taking into consideration, first of all, what is owed to all ethnic groups. And second, it must take into consideration the repair work that has to be done to the Africans in particular because of our experience during the period of enslavement and colonialism. The Constitution, we've been told by our constitutional experts. Rochdale Ford said it in Buxton. Nigel Yu said it yesterday. The Constitution of Guyana compels the state of Guyana to promote equity, to promote equality. And that equality must take into consideration equity. It is the function of the state of Guyana. And you cannot promote equity if you don't take into consideration the dispossession, the relative dispossession of all the ethnic groups. Yesterday at the forum, the Coffee 250 forum, we talked about the one-sided one Guyana. And somebody said it's more than one-sided. One Guyana is attempted to own Guyana. That one group of people, ostensibly in the name of one ethnic group, has coined the slogan One Guyana, to own Guyana, to own the wealth of Guyana. One Guyana was the slogan of the slave masters. It was a Guyana only for the slave masters. One Guyana was the slogan of the colonials. One Guyana only for the colonialists. And now we see in post-colonial Guyana, one Guyana by the PPP. I maintain the PPP does not owe Black people anything. Indian Guyanese do not owe Black people anything. We don't want nothing from Indian Guyanese. We don't want nothing from Chinese and Portuguese and African and Amerindians. No, we don't. They don't owe us. What the Indian Guyanese managers of the state owe us is to ensure, as managers of the state, that we get what the state owes us. And that means they must engage in an equitable distribution of the wealth, unexpected wealth that has come together. The PPP did not put that oil at the bottom of the ocean. They did not. That oil has been put there by nature, by God, call it what you want, and all of us must benefit from it equitably. Oh yes. Oh yes. Our Amerindian brothers and sisters have maintained the hinterland of Guyana, the virgin forests, the environment in there. They've maintained it. They've made it habitable. They're now being compensated for that. The Africans, first of all, turned the swamps of the coast of Guyana into plantations by our very hands, by our very labor. And then, having done that, to facilitate the accumulation of wealth for the Europeans, then the Europeans made the coast uninhabitable, uncivilized, because everything about slavery was uncivilized. When they left, it was the African that civilized the coastline. Pay us. Nobody gave us not one blind cent. And when we took our own cash money and bought our lands and turned them into villages, it was the colonial state that sought to destroy those villages, using taxation, using brute force, flooding our farmlands. That was a further dispossession. It means we used our money to build ourselves up, and they took away our money by destroying our capital, destroying the source of our accumulation of wealth. More money you owe us. So you owe us for slavery, and then you owe us for what you did to us after slavery, what you did to our economies, what you did to our villages, what you did to the economy of our villages after slavery.
There are debates going on all around. Some say we should stop singing this sad song and forget our call for reparation. But we just can't sit down, forget and ignore the pain and sorrows our ancestors had to endure. The horror of slavery still haunts this generation, because they never asked to be stolen and forced into servitude, chained up, shackled, bruised and battered and treated oh so crude. Millions of white oppressors benefited by enslaving Africans, so the descendants of slaves have a right to call for reparations. For all the slaves that they stole away, tell them that they have to pay. We want reparation for slavery. For all the violence and all the hurt, for making Africans believe that they had no way. We want reparation for slavery. For all of the pain and all of the shame. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. African women were raped by white slave masters to satisfy their sex-craved desires, while black men could only watch and do nothing. And the African slave tried to run away without a doubt it was hell to pay. If they got caught, they would be lynched or they'd lose a limb. They were denied education and all basic human rights. To live as a slave was to live a horrible life in the service of the white slave master. From the cradle to the grave, no compensation, no hope for the African slave. For all of the work they did in the past, for giving them all love in human time. We want reparation for slavery. For the Jim Crow laws and segregation, for all those who got lynched by the Ku Klux Klan. We want reparation for slavery. For all those atrocities, reparation. Painful memories. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Somewhere, somehow, we want reparation now. Listen, they broke up the African family, took away their rights and their dignity. Their religion and way of life was stolen. Subject them to a cultural genocide, took away the sense of African pride. Their defiant African spirit was broken. The transatlantic journey separated Africans from Africa. Many were scattered throughout the diaspora. Thousands died while making the journey to toil as a slave in the white man's land. So this is a call on behalf of those Africans. For every slave who died while making that trip, for every slave who was ever with, for every slave who was sold on the auction block, white men called them good African stock. For all of the tears, all of slavery, somewhere, somehow we the Holocaust. American Indians for their painful past. Aborigines in Australia got some as well. But not one thing for the Africans who expelled from their native land. It seems Africans were born to catch real hell. Great Britain and North America stole the wealth out of Africa. They built their empires on the back of slave labor. And when they said that slavery was over, the white slave masters got compensation. But yet today, Africans still fighting for reparation. Then I heard it from a British Prime Minister say, forgetting slavery happened yesterday. Who in the man has sincere apology? They destroyed the true African legacy. Reparation for slavery. For all of the pain and all of the shame. Somewhere, somehow we want reparation. Whoa, 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 whoa. Somewhere, somehow we want reparation. Let's not even get up.
The African woman, the black woman, singing for the land, singing for our people. Bursting shall live a string. You all share this to your children. This is not just for us adults. A lot of young people like to say, young people not in the mix. Young people, this is the kind of education, the kind of consciousness. You all share this link. Share it wide. The African woman singing for our people, singing for us, making our case. We're not asking this government to give us anything. We're not asking this government to give us anything. We're asking this government to ensure that we are paid. Our grandfathers' back pay. Our grandmothers' back pay. We're not asking for any special treatment. We're not stretching we hand for nothing. We are not mendicants. We are hard workers. Have always been. So we're not asking for nothing. We're not asking for nothing special. We don't want what nobody got. What we're asking for is for the state to pay us. And it's not just the economics. As you heard the Calypsonians say there, is what slavery did to mess with my mind. We need our experience to be taught in the schools. That's what we also want. That's reparations too. Let the African experience in Guyana be taught in school, not as something by the way. It must be central to the education curriculum. Because that's how you socialize people. Education is a powerful tool of socialization. And all African organizations have a right to teach. Open night schools, open afternoon schools. Get the African youth in there and teach them what we are talking about here tonight. So that they would appreciate that they don't have to run behind anybody for bucks to cook up rice. They don't have to feel when they get a contract for $2 million that they're making money. The way you change bad habits is through education. Yesterday, we were at Critchlow, and we were educating, we were discussing. There were at a minimum 5 plainclothes policemen and probably from the army in there. 5 of them. And I know some of our brothers and sisters there are so frustrated. They were saying, we talking, and they ain't saying any progress. And I was glad that they were there showing their frustrations because the masters had sent their spies to be there. And I wanted them to hear, we wanted them to hear Black people are frustrated. But we have to realize that when we say that we are talking too much, they know that when we gather, and we gather our chiefs, we gather the gurus, we gather our elders, our wise men and wise women, they know that we're not just talking. That's why they send spies there. They don't want us to quote unquote talk. Black people, stop. I understand your frustrations, but we are doing more than talk when we open our mouths. Or let the power from Zion fall on I. Our talk is power. That's why they don't leave us alone. If they thought we were talking nonsense, they would leave us alone. Let us continue to talk, because in the process of talking, we are mobilizing. We are spreading word. We are spreading the truth to our people, and we are serving warning to those who don't want us to mobilize. Politically, we need reparations. We need the system of government that keeps us off the table to end. We don't want a political system to keep us away from the table. We want a political system that puts us at the table when the elections are over, and they declare the winner and the loser, and they install who they want to install. We want to be at the table. We want a system that guarantees us an equitable place at the table. Revolutionize our thinking. We're not against election. We want election. We want them to be free and fair, and free from fear. But elections are a procedure. They're not ends in themselves. And when that procedure is over, and they allocate the votes and they allocate what they allocate, and they're ready to sit at the table, we want to be there. The African has been the loser in Guyana too long. We slaved for Guyana and we weren't at the table. And now that Guyana has gotten resources to pay us back, we want to be at the table when they're sharing up the thing. So we want equitable distribution of the political resources. We don't want an election that makes us the loser when they're done with it. We have to revolutionize our thinking so that we can revolutionize our demands. Reparations now. Reparations from the white man, but reparations from our own state. I don't expect Indian Guyanese, and Amerindian and Chinese and Portuguese to fight for Black interests, because they have to fight for their own interests, because we live in an ethnic society where each ethnic group has to fight for its just rewards. The political system, you put in your demands, And the system spits out policies that either address your demands or don't address it. That's how political system works. And I've been saying over and over again, our young politicians and our older politicians in the opposition have to stop this nonsense of asking for representation for people who didn't vote for them. You have to start with asking for representation and representing the people who vote for you. They vote for you because they want you to represent their interests. And I'm not going to stop shouting at opposition politicians who got 200 and something thousand votes. And they're telling us what Jacques Dior they're doing and doing and doing. Fine. They're telling us how much Indians punishing. Fine. But they're not hearing how Africans bawling. That should be the first thing that should come off of their lips. I'm not asking them to stop being national leaders and statesmen and women. There's a place for that. But you're not going to be a black statesman and black stateswoman if you don't get the votes from black people. Take away our votes from the PNC. It wouldn't get 1 seat in parliament. Or maybe 2 seats or 3 seats. Take away the African vote from the PNC. It will not get more than 3 or 4 seats in parliament. Let's be real. Take away the African vote, Granger would not have become president. Let's be real. Let's be real. I'm not saying don't go after votes of the other ethnic communities. Oh God, we need them. But take away what Africans give us. We become a small party, as you all like to call them, small party. Take away the African vote from the PNC, APNU, coalition, whatever they call themselves. Take away the African vote, they become a small party. You all hear me? In this time, at this time, we have to be very clear about what we are fighting for. Very clear about what we are fighting for. We have to be very clear about what we are fighting for. Because others are very clear about what they're fighting for and what they're fighting against. Our people slave for this country. Our people slave for this country. They dug the canals, you have heard that so many times. They civilized Guyana, you all have heard that so many times. So many times, so many times. And we have to continue hearing it.
I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. Well, it was lips like fire from the white slave master every day. I down on my knees, weeks and weeks before we crossed the seas to reach in the West Indies. And then they make me work.
Yes, I work.
I said I work.
And I work.
Good
Lord, no pay.
toil,
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 toil.
hard each day.
I'm dying. I'm crying, my God. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. Well, Lord, I want to be free. Sha. Many times I wanted to run, but the English slave master standing there with the gun, the gun, the gun. Oh, I know he gonna shoot to kill. So I stay and I pray, but I'm planning still. Yes, I study night and day how to break away. I got to make a brilliant escape. But every time I think about the whip and them dogs, my body that start to shake. He make me work.
Yes, I work.
I said I work.
Yes, I work.
Oh Lord,
Lord, no pay.
I toil,
Toil,
I toil,
toil,
I toil,
toil,
I toil, I
toil,
toil
hard each day.
I'm dying. Oh Lord, I wanna be free. In my heart, there was much to say, and I hope that the boss would have listened to me someday. Although he knew my request was small, it was the sting of the whip there to answer me when I called. We had to chant and sing to express our feeling to that wicked and cruel man. That was the only medicine to make him listen. And it's so calypso began. He made me work.
Yes, I work.
I work.
And I work.
Oh Lord,
Lord, no pay.
I toil, I toil, I toil, I toil,
hard each day.
I'm dying, oh Lord. Crying to my God. Well, Lord, I want to be free, my God. And then times change in so many ways. Till one day, somebody said, free the bloody slaves. I was then put out on the street. I had no clothes, I had no food, I had no place to sleep. Lord, I had no education, no particular ambition. This I cannot conceal. Forgot my native culture. I live like a vulture. From the white man I had to steal because he made me work.
Yes, I will.
I work.
Yes, I will.
Oh Lord,
No pain.
time,
Toil, hard each day.
I'm dying. I'm oh Lord, I want to be free.
Oh Lord, I want to be free. And I hope, and I hope, I hope, I hope, I hope, I hope, I hope they're listening. I hope they're listening. I hope they're listening because the PPP think that this is we're playing. They believe because they catch one or two house slaves that they have us covered and they have us captured. I want the PPP to understand the cries of the African in Guyana. Oh Lord, we want to be free. We want to be free. And freedom isn't something that somebody can give you. You got to take it for yourself. And we're going to take our freedom in Guyana. We're going to get our freedom in Guyana because we're going to take our freedom. We're doing work. We're doing work. We are working. They want us to be quiet. They want us to be silent. They don't want us to sing our songs. They don't want us to listen to our songs. The Mighty Sparrow there, I'm a slave, one of the classics. Oh Lord, I want to be free because he make me work. He make me work, no pay. Reparations. Reparations. Our people are crying out. They want mass protests. They want action, and they have every right to. They have every right to. We're going to do this work. We can continue to do this work to build our consciousness. Because the consciousness is a very important part of the struggle. Consciousness of who we are. We are an African people. So my brother said yesterday, you can leave Guyana and go to France and get French citizenship and get a French passport, and you become French. Guyanese is not an identity. Guyanese is just a civic identity. You change passport, you give up your Guyanese passport and take an Argentinian passport. But you're an African, whether you live in Argentina or you live in Guyana or you live in America. Your blackness goes there with you. Our identity, my brothers and sisters, is so important. Insofar as we don't let them know that we are an African people demanding what African people want, they're not going to give us it. They will say, as Guyanese, we owe you nothing. Guyana started in 1966. But as African, you came as African. And if you say you're African, yes, your demands are just. Africans are the only people who put Guyanese above African. You're Guyanese, you share Guyana with other groups. You are Guyanese, you are West Indian. But you're African, you were brought here in chains as African. And if you don't understand that, you understand nothing about your identity, and you're giving up your birthright. when you stop being African? Why do you think they call me racist, call Vincent racist, call Rickford racist, call Mark racist, call Kadaki? Because we tell you every day you're an African, and they don't want us to tell you that. They talk about local content, but what about African content? They talk about local content in the oil and gas industry. What about the African content in the oil and gas industry? What about the African content? That is what we have to fight for. What is the African content in that? We know where the local content going to. By God, they talk about a better contract with Exxon. And some of us black people are into that too. Oh, nothing is wrong in fighting for a better contract. But what about the contract with the African in Guyana? That's what you all have to fight more for. And we can't expect Brother Glenn Lal to fight for a better contract for African. He's fighting for a better contract for the elites in Guyana. Because when they get more from Exxon, the question is whether they will distribute it equitably. I've never heard Brother Glenn spoke about that. Oh yes, we have to fight for a better contract from Exxon. Oh yes, I'm not saying no. Fight for a better contract from Exxon, but fight for a contract, not a better contract, a contract with the African, a contract with the poor. And the contract with the poor and with the African can only come from what you get. We have to fight for the environment, yes. If we don't fight for the environment, we mess our lives up. But we had a bigger disaster than the environmental disaster, and that is the disaster of slavery. It was worse than the environment. And we are fighting for compensation for environmental destruction. We have to fight for compensation for the destruction of the African by slavery. Y'all get me right tonight. Priorities are priorities. Black people, black man, black woman, get your priorities right. Because it's joking we are because we don't have our priorities right. Every time we silence our African voices, money going away. Because what they should be paying us going somewhere else, because we silence the voice that will give us the greatest stake, the biggest stake. Young people, and I know some of you are good evening, my sister Cheryl. I'm glad to see you. Always lovely. So many of you. I was glad. Audrey, I haven't seen you, Sister Garway, for a few years. I've been in Guyana for the last 3.5 months, and I've met so many people. So many people said they were glad to see me in person. I was glad to see them in person too. Thank you all for thanking me. But I have a bigger thanks for those of you who thank me. Thanks. Thanks. But I have to thank you all more. I've not been able to get out as much as I wanted to get out and to get across the country. But this message has to go. It has to go far and wide. We have to mobilize our people so that they can take action in their own name. There's time and place for a campaign speech. There's time and place for an election campaign speech. And there is a time and a place for a speech for justice for those who are being treated unjustly. The black man, the black woman is being treated unjustly in Guyana. intentionally so. Because the less you pay the black man, the more it goes into the pocket of others who do not deserve so much. Redistribution of the wealth. That's what we're talking about. And we're not talking about it willy-nilly. We want it done by policy. And you all black people got to stop being licorice for little, nothing crumbs. Stop being licorice for crumbs. I'm not saying that if they're giving handouts, don't take it. I'm not saying that. But you don't have to be thanks. You must use the little handouts they give you to strengthen you, to make sure that they give you your fair share. That handout is nothing compared to what you're owed. Guyana will be a beautiful place only when all its children can smile and say we are beautiful. Guyana will be a beautiful place when its rulers are not of one shade and one type. Guyana would be a beautiful place when all its people can look at the face of our country and see their image printed on it. Right now, our image, the black image, is not printed on the face of Guyana. And we got to make noise, and we have to make more than noise. We have to make a revolution to ensure that our image is printed on the face of Guyana. We work too hard to make that face of Guyana what it is today. You make me work. No pay. No pay. We want reparations now. And I want you all young people who want a place at the table, come to the table, join our organizations. I need young people to help. I need interns for this show. Come on, it's your show. Don't say that young people are not at the table. When some young people say they're not at the table, they mean they're not in parliament. That's what they mean. But the table is not just parliament. I need help. We need help on these programs. I have to do everything myself on this program. They have young geniuses who are good with all these fancy things that I struggle with. Come on, come and donate your time. Make this program a better program. Help me with research. You don't want your name to be known, I understand. Not all of us have to go to front. But young people, come on in. Don't come to a program and say, I don't see young people here. If you get a stinking dot here, somebody say, you will see young people full. Nobody have to go and pull them out. And yes, we have to have a good time. We have to have a good time. But we also have to work in our own interests. Part your stomach in two. Part for vomit and part for eat. Yes, we got to vomit sometimes. And part to eat, Teacher George says so. Part your stomach in two. So come on, young people, don't. I enter the struggle as a political activist at age 15. It's 15. Nobody dragged me. Walter Rodney came to box and I hear he talk. I went home and said, Auntie, I heard the man come, he talk nice and I want to join anything. She said, so long as teacher Sydney, meaning brother UC, is part of it, you can join. And I joined at age 15. If you all don't want to go to the front, sing. Sing about black people. Sing about slavery. Sing about our condition. Black man, black woman, know thyself. Get up. Get up. Nobody can do it. You got to do it for yourself. And as someone who's been around a long time, I know that the revolution will not be televised. You're not going to hear from this program, the revolution is tomorrow. You're not going to hear it, but you're going to feel it in your bones. You're going to feel it in the sun. You will know when it's coming. But you can only know when you're part of the preparation. And the preparation is every day, every minute, every hour. Do something. My God, I thank you all, because every night you all come here in your hundreds. And you all keep my company, I keep your company. And when you all left here, you all go to Mr. Duncan. And then you all go to Mark. And you all wake up early in the morning. And you go on to Kidaki. You're part of the preparation. I don't want young people to be quarreling and say, come in, come in. Join organizations. And it's not David Hines who will make the revolution. Excuse me. The revolution will be made by you. And the hour of the revolution will be determined by those who illegally hold the power, illegitimately own power. Illegitimate power has never been sustained. If slavery could not be sustained, colonialism could not be sustained, neocolonialism, domination by the PPP cannot be sustained. I love you all so much. I love the sister, son, black woman, witnessing for us, leading us, singing She'll Leave a String for reparations. Reparations from the state of Guyana. We want reparations from the white man. And some of them already start to budge. But more than that, we want reparations from the state of Guyana. Because the state of Guyana is the inherited state of the colonial state and the slave state. And that state owes us. We're not going to rest. We're not going to rest. I've taken some of my brother's time, and I know he is a big number man more than me. So I don't mind you all staying a couple minutes with me. But I'll see you all tomorrow night. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Because we got to continue to do what we're doing. Reparations from the state of Guyana. That's our fight. That's a big part of our fight.
If you hear that, black is beautiful. Santa Claus. Black is beautiful. It's a texture. Lift your head like me. You got to wear it for